Yo, what is up YouTube? James Baek here, and welcome back to another episode of VGC 17 Back-to-Back Battles. Today we are still using the team of Hariyama, Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, Scizor, and Salamence, a team created by Matt Carter, which he used to get top 8 at a regional championship in Europe recently. And we're going to be kicking things off today. So again, if you haven't checked out the previous episode of VGC 17 Back-to-Back Battles, I highly recommend go checking it out. Link in the description down below. Otherwise, let's get started now. Scizor, as I said before, I have been testing Scizor a lot off camera recently, and I'm really liking it. There are a lot of cool sets you can run with Scizor. I've actually been trying a Thief set with Swords Dance. It's been pretty fun. I tried Life Orb. It was alright. It was like Life Orb Roost because it allowed me to knock out Tapu Lele after Intimidate, I believe. At least I'm pretty sure that's what I EV'd it to live for. I don't remember. I think I made the spread randomly, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened in the calc. But as we find our first opponent of the day, Manny from Italy, 1652 rating, and we're going to see a interesting team of Garchomp, Kartana, Tapu Koko, Braviary, Misdreavus, and Arcanine. So I think the key Pokemon that we're seeing here is Misdreavus, which is an interesting Pokemon. Misdreavus is a Pokemon that we haven't really seen too much in VGC. We have seen it done well before. In VGC 17, I believe it got top 8 at, I think it was St. Louis. It either got top 8 or top 16 in St. Louis. But otherwise, Misdreavus was probably most well known on Inosh is 2013 U.S. Nationals team with like Abomasnow and Rhyperior. So let's see. The thing is, I don't have knockoff on Hariyama, which makes Misdreavus a lot more annoying to handle. This could be a hard one. I think Tapu Koko is very safe. Maybe Tapu Koko Hariyama or Tapu Koko Arcanine. I think I want to go Tapu Koko Hariyama with Tapu Fini and Arcanine in the back, because this team looks very similar to a team that's been on the Pokemon Global Link that has Scarf Garchomp, Sash Kartana, I believe it was Life Orb Koko, Zimu Braviary, Bandit Arcanine, and I forgot what the last Pokemon was. It was Snorlax, right? It was like a Cursed Snorlax with Wild Charge, I believe? So let's see how this is going to go. So Misdreavus is interesting. It gets a few different options. Imprison is probably the most well-known. Having Imprison is pretty interesting. So you can Imprison Trick Room. We're going to see Braviary Garchomp lead. I think I just want to go for a fake out Thunderbolt into Braviary, because I never want Braviary to get an attack off. The question is, does Braviary go for Protect or does it go for Attack? I think I want to fake out Volt Switch. Yeah, I'm going to fake out the Garchomp and just Volt Switch to Braviary. It's a very safe play because I'm pretty sure this is going to be Scarf Garchomp. Well, we'll find out this turn if it's Scarf Garchomp or not, but I can definitely Volt Switch on the Braviary. Volt Switch will pick up the knockout. As nice. There is no Protect command for my opponent, so we do get a fake out off. Rough skin damage is going to happen on the Hariyama. I'm pretty sure Volt Switch should knock out the Braviary. It is Scarf Garchomp, as we do confirm now. Here comes the Volt Switch in the Braviary, which does pick up the knockout, which is a very huge knockout. As Braviary goes down, and Tapu Koko is going to retreat. So best turn possible. I think my opponent was trying to overcapitalize, probably expecting Dazzling Gleam, so maybe tried to set up a Tailwind there. Yet I basically got the best turn possible. I think I want to go into Tapu Fini, since I do want to keep my Intimidate for later in the game. And Tapu Fini is very safe against Garchomp, able to Moonblast for relatively free. So the problem is switching into Scarf Garchomp is going to be annoying. Kartana might be coming out here, which would be a troublesome Pokemon, yet not exactly the worst, because if my opponent wants to Earthquake, that's fine. Tapu Koko is actually going to hit the field, which is okay for me, actually, because I don't know what my opponent's going to lock my, like, you can't spam Earthquake unless you have Misdreavus in the back. I think I can just protect Tapu Fini and Scout and just bulldoze because I get to lower the speed on Tapu Koko as well as Garchomp and Scout. I would have maybe close combat would have been better onto Garchomp, to be honest, because gaining that close combat would have been huge. Maybe putting in extreme speed range from Arcanine, since this Arcanine is more offensive than what I'm used to, but just protecting Tapu Fini is safe and scouting. Poison Jab's going to come out to Tapu Fini, and Dazzling Gleam should be coming out. Yep. Okay. So that's okay. So the Dazzling Gleam's going to come out, not really doing much to Hariyama, which is fortunate. It's Life Orb Tapu Koko, which we do confirm here. We do get a Bulldoze off, so I'm not sure if Tapu Fini will be faster than this Tapu Koko, but that Bulldoze does do a nice amount of damage. And I think I'm just going to close combat Moonblast to Garchomp and put in extreme speed range. And then this game does look heavily in my favor if I do that. So I just want to check something. Tapu Fini is unfortunately not going to be faster than Tapu Koko after that Bulldoze. But I can just fire off a Moonblast into Garchomp and a close combat, because I'm pretty sure you're going to try to pick up a knockout on somebody. Pick up a knockout on Fini. That's okay. Not sure if my opponent's going to switch out or protect either, which I could see. Yet I'm pretty sure the Garchomp would switch out, as Garchomp's just going to stay in Poison Jab. Okay. Into Tapu Fini. That is going to do a decent amount of damage. What, you're going to Dazzling Gleam again? Poison, a bit unfortunate, as Dazzling Gleam is going to come out from my opponent, which shouldn't pick up the knockout on either one of my Pokemon. Nice. And if Moonblast knocks out Garchomp, I'm in a fantastic position if that happens. But I think it's going to be a little bit short. Oh no, we actually do pick up the knockout on Garchomp. That's great, actually. So I pick up the knockout on Garchomp, and I get a close combat off, and this should pick up the knockout on Tapu Koko because it's not intimidated, even if it's resisted. Tapu Koko not exactly the strongest physically defensive Pokemon out there, and Hariyama does have a pretty high attack stat. So Hariyama able to pick up the knockout on Tapu Koko, and now it's a 4v1 situation, and I get my berry back with the Tapu Fini, so that's pretty good. Now let's see what my opponent brings out. Probably Kartana is going to be that last Pokemon you would have to assume. And now it's... oh, it's actually Arcanine. Okay. So Arcanine comes out, which, you know, I don't need my Hariyama. I'm actually going to switch out my Tapu Fini and go on to Arcanine because I want to reset the terrain to get my Misty Seed, and then I'll be able to feed with Arcanine. And I'll just close combat the opposing Arcanine. I mean, maybe my opponent could still win, depending on the Arcanine, maybe if it gets some crits. But I will go out into my own Arcanine right here, fire off an Intimidate into this Arcanine, and then I get to feed the item the following turn. Wall Charge. Oh, it's Electric Terrain boosted. Oh, that's definitely banded damage. That is definitely banded damage. So we're going to get a close combat off, and it will fire off into the Arcanine. Look at how much damage that did. Look at how much damage that did. And Wild Charge, since that is banded, I don't think you can beat me because of Tapu Koko. Sweet. So I can Extreme Speed the Arcanine. And just go on to Fini, I guess. Because I get to save Hariyama for Fake Out Pressure if it is banded. So I do not mind this play. Tapu Fini will come back out. Get my Misty Seed on my Arcanine, which I'm pretty sure this is banded, so Extreme Speed might just be able to pick up the knockout here. But in case it doesn't, I have Fake Out Pressure with Hariyama. Extreme Speed gonna go into that Arcanine and will pick up the KO, so that will be good game to my opponent. And I feel like I played that alright. I feel like the big kicker was going for the Volt Switch turn 1 and my opponent not protecting on the Fake Out into Garchomp and a Volt Switch in the Braviary, which just gave me so much momentum. That could have played out differently if my opponent went for Protect, but if that did happen, let's say Braviary protected, I was going to go out into Arcanine most likely and just go for a Volt Switch anyway, because Braviary is a huge threat to my team. I cannot let Braviary set up. I will get rid of Braviary as fast as I can no matter what. So my opponent wants to go for Scarf Earthquake unless it crits my Tapu Koko, won't pick up the knockout. Knock out the Braviary, and then I can get some momentum. Tapu Fini could have won that game with the right setup, so I am fine. Especially since my opponent had Arcanine Tapu Koko, you would have had to assume that Garchomp would have had to switch out, so could have got some momentum there. As we find Jeremy from the United States of California with a 1750 rating as our next opponent, bringing the team of Nihilego, Snorlax, Aerodactyl, Tapu Lele, Celesteela, and Arcanine. So This looks like a game Scizor could extremely thrive in, except I would have to get rid of Celesteela and Arcanine, and both those Pokemon are probably going to be brought in this matchup, so yeah, not looking that great. For Pokemon I want to bring, actually, the 4 Pokemon I want to bring, I think Tapu Koko has to be brought. I feel like I'm going to need Scizor, because I'm going to have to play around Tapu Lele, Nihilego. Okay, so my opponents definitely bring one of either Arcanine or Celesteela. This is hard, because I don't think my opponent's going to bring Snorlax, because there's no point of bringing Snorlax. I don't have Trick Room, and I have pretty big ways to deal with Snorlax. Aerodactyl, good for speed control, but not much else, I could say. I think I'll lead Tapu Koko, Hariyama, Tapu Fini, Arcanine in the back. We're going to try it. I think, although Scizor could potentially do so much damage, I think my opponent knows how threatening Scizor is, and it's probably going to bring 2 checks to it. So it's probably going to be that Celesteela and Arcanine coming. So I'd rather not bring Scizor, because it'd be so hard to get into a good position in this game. Although it's so good against my opponent's team, it's just not worth it. Getting into a good position would be hard, especially since this team has some struggles, I guess, trying to pick up the knockout on Arcanine and Celesteela at once. So I don't think it's worth it exactly. So we're going to see Nihilego and Arcanine start off the battle. I don't think that's Trick Room Nihilego, because why would you ever have Trick Room Nihilego on this team? Arcanine, going to fire off an Intimidate. Okay. I could Volt Switch. I don't know. Like, my opponent, I guess, could switch on to Lele, which is kind of what I'm anticipating. I could see Nihilego protecting Arcanine going for attack. I think the best play, though, is to protect and go for Bulldoze, expecting the Tapu Lele to want to switch in. And maybe Nihilego going for a Sludge Bomb in the Tapu Koko. Because you don't want Arcanine to go down in this game. I think Arcanine is pretty valuable if you're my opponent, because you have to get rid of Scizor. But you're just going to stay in anyway, so I'm guessing Nihilego protects here. If it doesn't, that's okay by me. Okay, Nihilego protects. Okay. So it's not Scarf Nihilego. That's good to confirm. Oh, double protect. Okay, just scouting for the fake out, I guess. But go for the Bulldoze here, which doesn't do anything. But, you know, not a bad turn for me. I could just Volt Switch and Heavy Slam into the Nihilego and pick up a knockout. It also picks up the knockout onto what I expect him to bring, either Celesteela and Tapu Lele in the back. So this is pretty good. He might try to go into Tapu Lele here. I could definitely see Tapu Lele trying to switch in here. I definitely need Hariyama to knock out the Nihilego. That's pretty much the main job that it's here for. So I will be okay with trading Hariyama a lot of damage if I can get rid of either Nihilego or even Tapu Lele, because once I get rid of Tapu Lele, Hariyama kind of puts in a lot of work against my opponent's team, so I don't mind this play no matter what. The problem is we're going to be taking a very powerful move, but I could thief the Arcanine and steal a berry back, so again, not too bad, and I will knock out Nihilego if it decides to stay in, which it does actually. So Volt Switch into the Nihilego, does a solid amount of damage. I will be able to retreat and go out into my Arcanine here, which does put on an Intimidate, so I don't have to worry about a Flare Blitz switching. And also, we'll take a Sludge Bomb. Decently, this is the point where, like, I wish I had some Special Bulk. I'm so used to having, like, a careful Arcanine, being able to switch in. Sludge Bomb's going to come out into Hariyama. Oh, I do not mind. Hariyama's only here for that Nihilego friend. Z move coming out from the Arcanine. Oh, that's Infernal Overdrive. Okay. So, Tapu Lele isn't going to have the Z move, or it can't use its Z move in this game. So, Infernal Overdrive, that's probably targeting down Hariyama as well. Unless you're targeting down Tapu Koko, which I think you're going to target down Hariyama. But with Thick Fat and Intimidate, oh, it's into Arcanine. Okay. So, I got the best possible turn there because I get the Intimidate and Arcanine eats this up. But unfortunately, it's not a berry on Arcanine, so I can't thief it. Heavy Slam goes out into the Nihilego, so Nihilego will go down. Excellent. And that's basically the ideal turn, because Nihilego was so threatening with the Pokemon I brought. I needed Hariyama. Hariyama's job was mainly just to get rid of that Nihilego, which it did. Tapu Lele is going to come out. I mean, with the Misty Seed boost, I think I'll be able to take hits just fine. So I'm going to Flare Blitz the Tapu Lele and go out to Tapu Fini because the Berry boost is pretty helpful. I don't really need Arcanine as much because it, like, the Pokemon that Arcanine would be helpful against is Celesteela, but I have Tapu Koko for that. Tapu Lele can't use a Z move, so I'm pretty sure Arcanine can survive any combination. Once it gets Misty Seed boost, we also get rid of Psychic Terrain. So Psychic into whatever Pokemon isn't going to be doing too much damage. I can Extreme Speed afterward, and that should probably pick up the knockout onto Tapu Lele. So I'm feeling pretty good about the position I'm in. Arcanine's actually going to withdraw my opponent's side and go out to Snorlax. Oh, I can Thief that. Oh, I can Thief that. If the Psychic doesn't go into my... Okay, if the Psychic goes down to Arcanine and I faint to Recall, I'm going to feel really dumb. But I do preserve my Hariyama, so now Hariyama actually does have a second job in getting rid of this Snorlax, so that is okay. Gonna get the Misty Seed. Psychic's going to go into Hariyama most likely. Yep, if you're bringing Snorlax, you have to go for Psychic into Tapu Fini, because you can't risk me going for close combat into that slot. Flare Blitz comes out into that Tapu Lele. So much damage, okay. And I think I can risk clicking Thief plus Muddy Water here, because if I get rid of that berry on Snorlax, very good time for me. Muddy Water will knock out Tapu Lele as well as catch an Arcanine switching, because I think you would have to be worried about Extreme Speed, so you might just go into Arcanine here, so I will just Thief the Snorlax, try to get that berry if I can. This is a decently fast Arcanine, so it might be able to outspeed the Tapu Lele, depending on a set. I don't think so though, because that's a very frail Tapu Lele. That took so much from Flare Blitz. I'm pretty sure my opponent should be worried about Extreme Speed though, so Arcanine's definitely an option as a switch in. This is still tough. It depends on what my opponent does. If I could feed that berry on Snorlax, this game is so much easier. But it just stays in, goes for the Psychic, into Tapu Fini. Okay, I do not mind that trade at all, because I will get my berry up with my Fini, and I'll be able to Muddy Water, knock out the Tapu Lele, as well as Thief the berry on the Snorlax. So, give me that berry, Snorlax. Give me that berry. Nice. And if we land a Muddy Water, that's, you know, a bit too good to be true, but not the worst case. Not the worst case by far. As Muddy Water, gonna miss, unfortunately. Return is gonna go out to Tapu Fini, so my opponent going for the Tapu Fini. Doing a pretty decent amount, as I'll be able to Extreme Speed and Muddy Water the Tapu Lele at this point. Okay. So, unfortunately, we didn't get the best possible turn there, but I'm pretty content because Snorlax can no longer heal anymore. So, I just have to worry about getting rid of Arcanine and then getting my Hariyama in safely and just going for close combat. I will just Extreme Speed the Tapu Lele here. It's very safe. Even if Tapu Lele protects, I get damage on the Snorlax and a free switch into my Tapu Koko. So, I think I'm in a pretty good position here. Of course, this game is not over yet by far, and I could lose Arcanine this turn, which might make the game harder, but that is okay by me, as we will get the Extreme Speed off into Tapu Lele, which will pick up the knockout. So Tapu Lele goes down, and I will get a Muddy Water off onto Snorlax, and I could get an accuracy drop. So let's see. Good damage, actually. Return's going to go out into Tapu Fini. So my opponent really adamant about getting rid of this Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini will go down. However, Tapu Koko comes out. High horsepower should not knock out my... Okay, it should not knock out my Tapu Koko in one shot. I could just Helping Hand Z move also. Helping Hand Z move, well, Extreme Speed Z move will probably knock out either one of these Pokemon. So, depends. Flare Blitz is not going to knock out Tapu Koko. Snorlax is not a Pokemon that usually cares Protect. I think I'm just going to target down the Snorlax. Because with Thick Fat, I should be able to beat the Hariyama. Beat the Arcanine with the Hariyama. Plus one more Pokemon. So, I'm going to go for Extreme Speed Z move. Because Arcanine might want to Protect here. I think you might want to Protect with Arcanine. Like, Snorlax isn't doing much in this game anymore. And I just don't want to risk high horsepower crit when I rather risk Snorlax having Protect than a high horsepower crit onto Tapu Koko. And my Arcanine's still in pretty good shape to win the game. As well as, since that Arcanine doesn't have recovery because it's a Z move variant, Hariyama's looking very solid in this game once it gets one close combat off. And Arcanine's going to protect here, which is kind of what I expected. So nice. Gonna get the extreme speed off into the Snorlax as well as the Z move. Like, I could have went for Thunderbolt because Thunderbolt might have picked up the knockout, but I'm not risking it. I'm going for the Z move and making sure the Z move gets off. So I'm gonna go for my Electrium Z here, which is going to be the Gigavolt Havoc, and it will pick up the knockout onto Snorlax. Nice, nice, nice. And goodbye, Snorlax. There's no way Snorlax should be surviving that. Nice, okay. And now what I can do is play some juggling with switching out Arcanine into my Hariyama for Fake Out Pressure. And I can Volt Switch out with Tapu Koko, save the strong electric type attacks for later, and get in Arcanine for Intimidate. So just going to play a very safe defensive game right here. Bring out the Hariyama and just Volt Switch out into the Arcanine. Let's see how much damage this does. Ooh, that's damage. And Thunderbolt should be able to pick up the knockout onto my opponent's Arcanine after this. Arcanine's going to come out. Let's see my opponent make a read. But I don't know what kind of read could potentially help my opponent in the game. Flare Blitz is going to come out and target down my Tapu Koko slot. So, is that a crit? I don't know why this Arcanine always gets crit. So I won't be getting my berry, but I get my Tapu Koko back in, which is okay. And that will be a good game to my opponent because all I have to do is click Thunderbolt plus my Close Combat, and that will be the game. Arcanine cannot recover unless it has Morning Sun, but it would be knocked out by the double target. So I can just go for Close Combat and Thunderbolt, and that'll be a good game. So, I don't know, I feel like I just had a game plan. I feel like it was worth not bringing the Scizor, although my opponent did bring Nihilego and the Tapu Lele, which I was not expecting. Arcanine was just going to be such an annoying Pokemon. Actually, Scizor would have been great here with this because of the fact that my opponent had Snorlax. I could have Swords Dance and then Brick Breaked potentially, but I don't think that was worth it. I feel like I was just comfortable with these four, and I didn't have to play around Arcanine every time because Arcanine was the last Pokemon standing. However, Infernal Overdrive just made it so much easier for me. In fact, I could have Gigavolt Havoc turn 1 to try to pick up the knockout onto the Arcanine, and even if my opponent protects it, I'm pretty sure Gigavolt Havoc into the Thunderbolt would have just picked up the knockout, to be completely honest with how much that Volt Switch did previously. So yeah, but I didn't want to risk that. But if it was like game 2, I would go into, I'm pretty sure that's what I would do. But anyway, let us continue. So 1800s, not bad. Let's see if we can actually stay in the 1800s. What music do I want? Guardian DD is fine, but this should be pretty fun. Anyway, CEO and I believe Japan Nationals is tomorrow. Let's see, there's DreamHack for Pokken Tournament, which I'm really excited about. Pokken Tournament at CEO as well as Smash 4. I do love watching Smash sometimes. And also Japan Nationals, I believe, is tomorrow if I'm not mistaken. So really some really great Pokemon events. I highly recommend go checking them out. You can usually find info like on the official Pokemon website or the Pokemon Company's Twitter. That's usually the best place to find those live streams. So I highly recommend go checking them out because there should be a lot of great action tomorrow. And I'm super excited to watch, although I'll be at a PC most of the day tomorrow. So, but I do hope to catch up real quick because I really need some ideas for Nationals. I hope that Japan Nationals can come through with those ideas. But anyway, enough about that. Let's just get into it. Come on, find us a game, friend. Don't tell me it's going to take forever to find games now. I think the highest on the ladder currently for VGC right now, at this present time when I'm recording, is like 1902. I believe the top holder's person from Italy. But yeah, we'll be right back till we find another game. Alright, we find, what is that, Beto D or something? I don't know. That's supposed to be a reference or anything. With the team. Oh, this is the Hyper Offense team. I don't like how the matchup is going to look. Tapu Koko, Arcanine, Pheromosa, Raichu, Tapu Lele, and Drifblim. Oh, what am I supposed to do against this team? This team looks power. Like, this team actually looks highly powerful. So, think I want to go Scizor plus Coco. I don't think Coco's the play. I think the 4 Pokemon I want to bring are Scizor, Arcanine with Tapu Fini, Tapu Koko in the back. The Arcanine on my opponent's side is going to be very hard. Just this team looks very hard to deal with in general. I mean, it's got Raichu, Koko, Lele, which is already a strong core. Raichu is going to be powered up with the terrain. The fact that Drifblim Lele is interesting. Man, there's so many options for my opponent. I don't know where to begin. Let's see what my opponent's going to bring as a lead. There are many leads. Pheromosa, Raichu. Okay. So I'm going to lead my Scizor plus Arcanine, and what's annoying is... Okay, what's going to be annoying is I can't tell the leads exactly. I'm going to Bullet Punch Pheromosa and Protect, because what I would expect is you to fake out Arcanine and go for a Z-move potentially. I'm just going to Protect here. Raichu could have Encore, but I could always switch out Arcanine, so it's not exactly the biggest deal or slash concern. So Arcanine's going to Protect. No Protect coming out, so Bullet Punch is going to go out into Pheromosa. I could have knocked that with Extreme Speed. Oh, did that really live on like 1 HP? You turned into Scizor. Okay. You turned into Scizor doing what though? Tapu Koko or Tapu Lele? Tapu Koko is going to be brought out. And I wonder if a Z-move is going to come out straight from my opponent. It's going to be Electro Ball into Scizor. My opponent read it. Oh my lord. Okay. That was cool. That was cool. Okay. Not gonna lie, that was pretty cool. Gonna bring out my Tapu Fini because it weakens the power of my opponent's attacks here. And I can just go for Extreme Speed plus Muddy Water. Not sure my opponent has a Z-move on the Raichu. But I do get my Misty Seed up, which is important to take down this Raichu and Tapu Koko. I will Extreme Speed the Raichu because of the fact that most likely we're going to see Encore coming out. And I'll Muddy Water here for damage. So Extreme Speed goes out on the Raichu. Good amount. Volt Switch is going to come out from Tapu Koko into my Arcanine. Let's see what my opponent's going to do. Life Orb on the Tapu Koko. Is this going to be Volt Switch into Tapu Lele, get to the Psychic Terrain, and then Z-move? Oh, jeez. Pheromosa is going to come out. Okay, I don't mind if you sack Pheromosa here. Electro Ball is going to come out. Okay. Targeting Arcanine. Okay, so Arcanine's able to eat that up comfortably. Muddy Water is going to come out from me, so I can get rid of this Pheromosa, which is huge. And not knock out Raichu, but that's okay. Pheromosa goes down. Let's see. I do have Tapu Koko to switch in, so I do have Extreme Speed to threaten the Raichu at all times. Electric Surge is going to activate on the battlefield. I wonder that Raichu specs in any way. The fact it was able to well, you turn into Electro Ball should have KO'd Scizor. Because I'm wondering if this Raichu has Protect or not. That's like the big question. I think I'm going to switch out my Fini here, expecting the Electric type attack going to Tapu Koko. And protect my Arcanine here. As Tapu Koko is actually going to withdraw into Tapu Lele. Ah, I caught him. Okay, I caught him. So nice. What this allows me to do is get an Extreme Speed off into the Raichu slot the following turn. I should have just made the rename up for Extreme Speed. I wasn't exactly confident that my opponent would just make that play, to be honest. It was a nice bait, though. So I do get the terrain back up, and what's Electro Ball going to go into? I think you have to target down my Arcanine here, right? No, you target down Fini. Okay. Which makes sense, since I was, I would have been forced to make that play. But now I can just go for my Z move here. Gigavolt Havoc does knock out Lele, depending on the Lele set. And I'll Extreme Speed the Raichu and try to pick up the knockout. I don't think this game is unwinnable by any means, because Extreme Speed will be able to knock out Raichu at that position, and the Z move is pretty good. As we're going to see the Raichu switch out. Okay, and Tapu Koko. Let's see if Tapu Lele carries Protect or not. That's going to be a question. No, it doesn't. So we get an extreme speed off in a Tapu Koko, which solid amount, as we are going to get the Z move off. And this should pick up the knockout on Lele. It's Electrium Z in terrain. And on this team, I would assume that Tapu Lele would be like, I don't know. We haven't seen the Z move yet, so it might be Z move Lele. So I'm pretty sure it'd be like max speed, max special attack. They don't really run bulky Lele on an offensive team like this. As I do get... really... Shadow Psyche is going to come out from the Tapu Lele. I don't know who that's targeting, but it's going to be pretty bad. Full force, Shadow Psyche into my Arcanine. Okay. So I don't think I have the worst chance of winning this game. Arcanine is going to go down, but I still have Dazzling Gleam from my Tapu Koko. And Tapu Fini will be able to live one attack from my opponent here. So I get to bring Misty Surge up. My opponent doesn't exactly have many options other than maybe Volt Switch, I guess. Although Dazzling Gleam might be able to KO me. I'm just going to go for Moonblast plus Dazzling Gleam here, because I don't think I have another play. I think I have to rely on a Speed Tie. Knock out Tapu Lele. Yeah, so I do win the Speed Tie. Potentially, it could be Moss Tapu Koko, which would make sense on the team. As I do pick up the knockout on Lele. Dazzling Gleam is going to come out. We'll just pick up the KO onto my Koko. It doesn't actually, so... yeah, I was wondering if that would even be able to knock out Tapu Koko. I think if it was Moss, I was gambling. But Timid, I don't think would have. So I do get the knockout on Tapu Koko, and that should be the game because Raichu's at so low HP. And Dazzling Gleam plus Moonblast will be able to pick up a KO. So we end up winning this game. If that was Sash Pheromones, if that wasn't Sash Pheromones, I would be very upset because of the fact that Bullet Punch almost just picked up the knockout. And we didn't get the knockout. So just go for Moonblast plus Dazzling Gleam. Raichu doesn't get any spread moves other than like, what, Surf in the past. But we do outspeed the Raichu anyway and just get the Dazzling Gleam off. And that'll be good game to my opponent. So get the 3 wins into this episode. Feel like I played a lot better. Learning this team as it goes, and I'm definitely feeling a bit more comfortable with this team than I had been a few days ago. So I do hope everyone has enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please leave a like down below. It shows the support, as well as you can check out the social medias down below, of course. Previous episodes if you have missed them. The QR code team and its creator is down below. And anything else I have to say? If you want to say something, feel free to leave a comment down below. And otherwise, yeah, James Baek, James Speed 1 here, and I'll see you around in another video.